Good morning, children.
Good morning, ma'am.
We were discussing about the packaging of DNA helix in both eukaryotes and prokaryotes. Hope you are remembering the points that we discussed last class. And one of you tell me how DNA is packed within the nucleus of a eukaryote. Whether, what is the condition of your hair, dear? Now barber shops are opened, no? Or even I think you will go to beauty parlor only, no, for cutting. Anyhow, have a haircut at the earliest. Yes, tell me the answer.
In eukaryotes, there is a set of positively charged histones.
Once again.
In eukaryotes, there is a positively charged set of positively charged basic proteins called histones.
Histones. And what is wrapped around it? What is wrapped around it? Just only these positively charged proteins are present?
Amino acids.
Did you read? Because of the periodic test you couldn't know. Wait. Malavika, in single sentence, I don't want further explanation. Just in a single sentence, can you say how they are arranged?
Negatively charged DNA is wrapped around these histone proteins. Histone octamer.
Negatively charged DNA is wrapped around or coiled around histone octamer. What is histone octamer, Naureen? What do you mean by histone octamer?
Histones are arranged to form a unit of 8 molecules.
And histones are positively charged proteins, and they form a unit of 8 molecules, which you call as histone octamer. And when this negatively charged DNA is coiled around this histone octamer, that unit, what do we call? Vidur, do you remember that? Histone octamer along with the DNA helix. And I told you they look like beads on a string. Can you, Vidur, starting with the N?
Nucleosome.
Nucleosome. And nucleosome is a structure, the individual units, how the DNA molecules are wrapped around. I told you already, several such nucleosomes will be there, and each nucleosome consists of a strand of DNA. DNA is negatively charged, and that is wrapped around or coiled around 8 molecules of histone proteins, and you call it as a histone octamer. And this histone octamer along with the DNA helix wound around it or coiled around it will form a nucleosome. And we also learned the differences between euchromatin and heterochromatin. How are they different? Michael, 1 point. 1 point of difference between euchromatin and heterochromatin. Different regions of DNA helix, you can classify or categorize them into euchromatin and heterochromatin.
The euchromatin is loosely packed and heterochromatin is densely packed.
Another point, Punya?
Euchromatin is transcriptionally active, heterochromatin is inactive.
Okay, what about the stain now? Mehek?
Euchromatin stains light and heterochromatin stains dark.
Heterochromatin will stain dark and euchromatin will stain light. So you hope you understood the differences between heterochromatin and euchromatin. You can distinguish in a nucleus. You know that the chromatin will form chromatin fibers. The chromatin material will form chromatin fibers. Chromatin fibers is an entangled network of thread-like structures, but at the time of cell division, these chromatin fibers will get condensed and they will form structures known as Gayatri. Chromatin fibers will undergo change and form chromatin fibers. At the time of cell division, they become they get condensed, or they become short and stout and form
chromatic Chromosomes.
The arms you can say as chromatids, like what the entire structure you call as chromosome. So now we are going to learn about the search for genetic material. So different scientists have carried out several experiments to find out the genetic material, the characteristics of the genetic material. So we are going to learn a few experiments and all these experiments are very important, repeatedly asked as essay questions. Several experiments or several contributions of several scientists you will have to learn in this chapter. And as I told you earlier, the contribution of each and every scientist, you should be familiar with their names, the year in which these experiments were carried out, and their findings. All that are very important. And in most of the question papers, as a 5-mark question, one of these experiments you can find. So listen carefully. Any doubts, then and there you can clarify. The search for genetic material. So in the beginning, scientists we were not aware of the actual characteristics and what actually makes the genetic material, we were not aware of. And later, several scientists conducted experiments, researches in this field, and they found out the characteristics of the genetic material. In 1928, Frederick Griffith, he conducted several experiments using the bacteria Streptococcus pneumoniae. So Streptococcus pneumoniae, these bacteria cause pneumonia. There are several microbes that can cause pneumonia, but this is one bacterium that can cause pneumonia, Streptococcus pneumoniae. And he observed that during the course of his experiment, as he was conducting experiments using this particular bacterium, its physical form underwent some changes. So as he was observing, or he could observe that some changes took place in the physical form of these bacteria. The bacteria produced 2 types of colonies when they were grown on a culture plate. You know that for laboratory purposes, we'll be growing bacteria in specialized medium, and you call it as culturing of bacteria. So as he was culturing for the experimental purpose, when he was culturing or when he was growing them on a nutrient medium, he found that the bacteria produce 2 types of colonies. So a group of bacteria will form a colony. Bacterial colonies will be formed, but he could distinguish 2 types of colonies. Smooth, shiny colonies and rough colonies. 2 types. One was smooth, the other one was rough. Smooth colonies, he named it as S strain. S for smooth strain, and the rough colonies went on as R strain. S strain bacteria got the name because its surface outer part was smooth, because they had a mucus coating outside which made its surface or its outer part or the covering very smooth. And this mucus is actually, or this mucus coating was actually made of a polysaccharide. A carbohydrate was made of a polysaccharide. R strain does not have, or this mucus coat was absent in R strain, which made it very rough. Once again, in 1928, Frederick Griffith, so you should be familiar with the names, and sometimes you get confused with the experiments and the scientists. So some code or some mnemonic you have to make to relate the experiment with the scientist. So if you, for example, if the contributions of Frederick Griffith is asked in the question paper, and you are writing the contributions of some other scientist, means you will not get marks. So you should somehow relate it with the experiment with the scientist, so that there won't be any confusion. Frederick Griffith, he conducted experiments using the bacterium known as Streptococcus pneumoniae, which causes pneumonia. And as he was carrying out the experiments, or as he was observing the culture of bacteria, he could find that in the course of the experiment, these bacteria underwent some change in its physical form. And he could notice two types of bacterial colonies being formed. This bacterium formed two types of colonies. One was smooth colony, the other one was rough colony. And the smooth, shiny colonies, he called the bacteria which made such a colony as S strain, and those which form rough colonies is R strain. And the difference between both is that in S strain, there was a mucus, a mucilaginous coat made of a polysaccharide, which is actually a polysaccharide. Because of this coating, they were smooth in appearance. Whereas the rough ones, the rough strains, this was absent. This mucus coat was absent in R strain. Now let's see how he carried out the experiments. And mice was used for the experimental purpose to see the changes taking place, to observe the changes taking place. Mice was used, and S strain bacteria was injected into mice. S strain bacteria he injected into mice, and the mice died. Then R strain bacteria was injected into, R strain bacteria were injected into mice, mice survived. I'll repeat once again, when S strain bacteria were injected into mice, the mice could not survive and it died. At the same time, those organisms or those mice who were injected with this R strain, they survived. And later, he heat killed. Heat killed means by exposing it to a high temperature, these S strain was inactivated and it was injected into these bacteria were injected into mice, and here also mice survived. So when S strain was injected, mice died, they could not survive. But when it was heat killed, when these bacteria were heat killed and injected, they were not able to kill the mice and the mice were able to survive. Then S strain heat killed and R strain live ones were injected into mice, but the mice died. I'll repeat once again. This you should know, children. It's very important. S strain. Once injected, it died. Okay. When it was heat killed, mice could survive. That means only this was able to cause some negative impacts on mice, and that is why they died. But once it was heat killed, it became inactive and it could not damage mice. And R strain, harmless. The mice survived when it was injected. Okay. But then he tried out with a combination of S strain and R strain. R strain was alive and S strain heat killed. But to their surprise, mice died. See, if you take it separately, just a minute. If you take it separately, children, S strain heat killed. It's not able to, or they cannot kill mice, as we saw here. Mice survived. And separately, if you see R strain, it cannot damage mice. But when this combination was there, the mice died. Now let's see what is the reason. What could be the reason for this result or this observation? Why, when these two were combined, what made the mice die? S strain is virulent, means it's pathogenic, it can damage, it can cause disease. So it can cause disease, harmful, and they caused pneumonia in mice, and mice died once infected with the disease. R strain is non-virulent, it's not harmful, it cannot cause a disease, and the mice survived. Heat killed S strain. Once you heat kill S strain once, the S strain one becomes inactive. That means they are not able to cause disease because we have already heat killed it. and thereby the mice will survive because it cannot cause disease. It's not capable of harming the mice, and hence mice could survive. But when he injected, he killed S and live R strain, they developed pneumonia and died. So in the beginning, the scientists were finding it difficult to find out what might have happened because separately, if you take, both are harmless. Heat killed S cannot cause pneumonia, live R strain cannot cause pneumonia. But what made the mice die when a combination of both were injected into them? He also recovered live S strain bacteria from the dead mice. Actually, he had injected heat killed. Just a minute. Actually, the scientist had injected heat killed S, but from the dead mice, he could get living S strain bacteria. But he injected only heat killed S and live R strain. And from where this living S strain bacteria came. So that they found out, and we will see the results of the experiment and the conclusion of the experiment. So before that, let's see the points once again. You should not get confused. So in four ways he carried out the experiment. First, he injected a strain into mice, and mice developed pneumonia and died. That means a strain is virulent, means it is harmful or poisonous or toxic. It can cause damage, or it can cause pneumonia and harmfully affect mice. Whereas R strain, that is non-virulent, it's not at all harmful. That is why when it was injected, they are not able to cause disease. They cannot cause pneumonia, and hence they survived. And in the third case, he tried out with heat killed S strain. When it is heat killed, means they will not be able to cause the disease. They have already become inactive, and the mice survived there. And in the last case, he took a combination of both heat killed S strain and living R strain. Separately, when these were injected, the bacteria could not develop disease in the mice. But when a combination of both was injected into these mice, they developed pneumonia and died. And to their surprise, they could even obtain living S strain bacteria from the dead mice, which they did not inject, from where this living S strain bacteria developed. So let's see, this much is clear now, children? And now, yes.
Could you explain the previous slide once more?
Okay. This is okay, no? Nanda is okay. Okay. So we started with the experiments in 1928. So in 1928, scientist named Frederick Griffith, he conducted some experiments using the bacteria Streptococcus pneumoniae. And these bacteria cause pneumonia. And he found that the bacteria was undergoing some changes in its physical form during the course of experiment. And he could observe two types of colonies being formed by the same bacteria, two different strains, two types he could find. One was having a smooth or a mucus coating around it, and he called that strain as S strain. Whereas the other colony of bacteria, this mucus coat was absent, and hence it was known as, or hence he called it as R strain. R strain and S strain. The difference between both is that R strain lacks that mucus coating, which makes its surface rough, whereas in the case of S strain, they have a mucus coating which makes its surface very smooth, or which makes the bacterial colony very smooth. Okay, Nandana?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we are proceeding to the third slide. See here in that experiment, pictorial representation you can find here. In the first case, same points with the help of pictures represented over here. See, living a strain which is virulent, which is harmful, injected, mouse died. Okay, and their living strain cells were found in its heart. No surprise, because they had already injected living strain bacteria. Then R strain, which is non-virulent, the mouse survived and no bacterial cells were found in heart, means it was healthy, no pneumonia. It didn't develop pneumonia. Then in the third case, S strain bacteria were heat killed and then it was injected. So here also the mouse was healthy because that is not, it has become non-virulent upon heating. Then the last case, they made a mixture of both. Living R strain and heat killed S strain. But to their surprise, they found that after injecting, the mouse died and they could find the S strain bacteria in there from their body or from their heart. Okay, now let's see the details. Conclusion of the experiment. R strain bacteria, somehow it got transformed by the heat killed S strain bacteria. Only that can happen because what they injected was a mixture of living R strain and heat killed S strain. But they could obtain living S strain bacteria from the dead mice. So something might have happened. Something or some component from the S strain bacteria, heat killed S strain bacteria, might have transformed the R strain bacteria and made it develop that mucus coat and transform into S strain. Some transforming principle, they were not knowing what it is actually. What was this transforming principle or what made this transformation of R strain bacteria into living S strain bacteria? They were unaware at that time, but they understood that something was there, some transforming principle is there which got transferred from heat killed S strain bacteria. Even though it was heat killed, something was still active there which got transformed or which was transferred into the R strain bacteria and enabled R strain bacteria to synthesize that mucus coat or polysaccharide coat. And once the polysaccharide coat was developed, it got transformed into S strain or the virulent bacteria. So at that time they were unaware, the scientists were unaware what was this substance which got transformed or what component had got transferred into R strain bacteria to bring about changes in them. But they understood something is there. Some transforming principle is there which made the R strain bacteria develop mucus coat and get transformed into S strain bacteria. And the transforming principle originated or it was from heat killed S strain. Even though it was heat killed, some transforming principle was still active, which got transferred into R strain, made them synthesize. That component might have made them synthesize the mucus coating. So once a mucus coating or polysaccharide coat has been developed, it got transformed into S strain bacteria. The transformation of R strain to S strain is due to the transfer of genetic material. That means this transforming principle, which we mentioned it as transforming principle, is actually the genetic material. The nature of genetic material, they were not knowing at that time, but the biochemical nature of the genetic material was not defined from his experiment. So he could not understand what is its composition, what is the biochemical nature of this genetic material. What they understood is that something, some transforming principle, some genetic material had got transferred from S strain to R-strain bacteria and made them develop that mucus coating and transform into S-strain bacteria. And these S-strain bacteria developed pneumonia in mice and the mice died. I'll repeat all the points again. We will be learning more about this genetic material, how they found out the nature of genetic material or the biochemical nature of genetic material, how they found out. We'll be learning later. Okay, soon we'll be learning, not later. Today we have 2 periods, no children? Hello? We have 2 periods,
Yes,
no?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So quickly we'll have a recap of all the points that we learned. Transforming principles. So in the beginning, I didn't tell you about the heading because I just want the experiment to be completed. So now you might have understood why the caption is given as transforming principle. Frederick Griffith, he found out some transforming principle that transformed the R-strain bacteria into S-strain bacteria. So that was in 1928. He conducted some experiments. Which made he conducted experiments with the bacteria Streptococcus pneumoniae, and these bacteria cause pneumonia. And as he was carrying out the experiment, he found that the bacteria changed its physical form. And he could find, or he could observe, 2 types of bacterial colonies being formed. One he called as S-strain because it was having a polysaccharide coat. And the other strain he called rough colony, or he called it as R-strain because this mucus coating or the polysaccharide coating was absent there. And that was the main difference between S-strain and R-strain bacteria. S-strain bacteria, they are virulent, means they are poisonous. They can cause harm to the organism. It's a pathogen. They can cause diseases. Whereas R-strain bacteria, they were non-virulent, or they are non-virulent. And this is how he conducted his experiments. Here in the form of a flow chart, it is represented. He injected S-strain bacteria into mice and he could find that the mice died. But when R-strain was injected, mice survived. And again, he tried with heat-killed S-strain, mice survived. But he tried out a combination of S-strain and living R-strain into the mice, and mice died. When both these were injected separately, mice survived. But when a combination of these 2 were injected, mice could not survive. They developed pneumonia and died. S-strain is virulent and can cause pneumonia, and that is why the mice died when it was injected into its body. And R-strain is non-virulent. It cannot cause pneumonia, and that's why they survived. Heat-killed S-strain is non-virulent. Just like R-strain, heat-killed S-strain is also non-virulent and they cannot cause pneumonia. But when he injected a mixture of both heat-killed S and living R-strain, they could develop, or the mice developed pneumonia and died. And he could even obtain living S-strain bacteria from the dead mice. So he concluded that some transforming principle got transferred from the heat-killed S-strain to living R-strain and made them develop or synthesize that polysaccharide coat. Once this polysaccharide coat was developed, they transformed into the virulent form, that is S-strain, and they developed pneumonia in mice. Mice died, and the scientists could obtain living S-strain bacteria from dead mice. The biochemical nature of this transforming principle or genetic material was unaware at that time. He could not give a proper solution, or he could not give a proper answer from using, or with the help of his experiment, he could not prove the biochemical nature of this particular transforming principle or genetic material. But it was sure that something is transformed. some genetic material or transforming principle got transferred from the heat-killed S strain bacteria to R strain bacteria, which made them change its physical form and also its nature, because it was living R strain was non-virulent. But when this mucus coat, once the transforming principle reached them, they synthesized mucus coat and became S strain, and they caused pneumonia in these mice, and mice died. Okay, children? And biochemical nature of the transforming principle, it was later discovered by three scientists, Oswald Avery, Colin MacLeod, and Maclean McCarthy. These three scientists, almost 10 years, 1933 to 44, they carried out experiments and they could find out the biochemical nature of transforming principle. Oswald Avery, Colin MacLeod, and Maclean McCarthy. Oswald Avery, Colin MacLeod, and Maclean McCarthy, they, with the help of their experiments, or they conducted experiments, and they could find out the biochemical nature of this genetic material or transforming principle. So quickly summarize the first one so that we can proceed to the next. Yes, Sharon, you may start.
In 1928, Frederick Griff conducted experiments with Streptococcus pneumoniae, which causes pneumonia.
Then next point, Meenakshi.
Found that during his experiment, this bacteria changed its physical form into two, and that was one smooth shape, which is S strain, and a rough shape was R strain.
Vidur, what is the main difference between these two strains, S strain and R strain?
S strain is virulent and R strain is non-virulent.
Once again?
S strain is virulent.
S strain is virulent, but
And R strain is
in terms of structure, structural difference, why you call it as smooth, the other one is rough? What is the reason?
strain is shiny,
Yes?
smooth, shiny. S strain,
Why it became shiny? What do they have?
mucus coating.
They have
Mucus coating.
protein, I said, protein coating.
Mucus coating.
Ah,
Mucus coat.
Okay, mucus coating. And this mucus coating is made of which substance?
Polysaccharide.
Polysaccharide. It was made of polysaccharide. And then what are the different stages of experiment? Rijas, what are the different stages? First stage you can say. What did he inject? Not audible, Rijas. I'll come back. Yes.
He injected a strain
Into
into the mice and the mice died.
Mice, and mice died. And Malavika, next point.
When R strain was injected, the mice lived.
Yes. And the third step, Punya?
When heat-killed S strain was injected, the mice lived.
Yes. Mice survived. Then Anna, last step.
S strain, heat killed S strain plus and R strain were injected, the mice died.
Okay. Now what made these mice die, Gayatri? What is the reason?
Because the S strained ones like cause pneumonia in the mice and they died.
No, my question is, what has happened? How this S strain living bacteria was obtained, or what made him?
Something was transferred from the.
Given what is the term I mentioned? The caption of the topic that we just
transformed the
transforming principle, that this transforming principle was transferred from
S strain to R strain, transforming.
See, S strain. What type of S strain bacteria that you have to mention?
Heat killed S strain bacteria.
Heat killed S strain. This was transferred to R strain, and which made R strain develop. Adona. Once this transforming principle reached R strain, what happened in R strain bacteria? They developed.
Genetic material.
Yes, genetic material, but upon getting it, upon accepting or upon reaching that, or once this genetic material got transferred into R strain, what happened to R strain? What transformation took place? What change it developed? It developed what? Donna, what is the main difference between R strain and S strain?
S strain is virulent, whereas R strain is not.
Not about its virulency, I'm asking about the structure, you tell me.
The S strain has a mucus coating.
Coating, whereas R strain
Do not have.
So once the transforming principle reached R strain, what developed in R strain?
A smooth coating.
Ah, yes, the polysaccharide coating developed and it became
Virulent.
Okay, got it? And he was unaware of the biochemical nature, or with the help of his findings, he could not explain the biochemical nature of this transforming principle. So to find out the biochemical nature of this transforming principle, 3 other scientists conducted experiments. So let us learn more about those experiments which proved the biochemical nature of transforming principle. The 3 scientists who conducted experiments to prove the biochemical nature of transforming principle were Oswald Avery, Colin McLeod, and Maclean McCarthy. And almost 10 years they conducted experiments and they could prove the biochemical nature of transforming principle. Frederick Griffith, even though he could find that some transforming principle got transferred from S strain bacteria, heat killed S strain bacteria to R strain bacteria, he was not able to give a proper explanation about the biochemical nature of this genetic material. So these scientists conducted experiments and they found out the biochemical nature of transforming principle. Prior to their work, genetic material was thought to be a protein. So it was assumed that scientists assumed that this could be a protein. There was no experimental proof, but they just assumed this could be a protein. They worked to determine the biochemical nature of the transforming principle in Griffith's experiment. So the assumption was that this could be a protein, but that was not based on any experimental proof, and later they conducted studies to prove it. They purified biomolecules, the different molecules which make up a living organism. The main biomolecules like proteins, DNA and RNA. So they purified these 3 different major biomolecules, DNA, RNA and proteins, from heat-killed S strain bacteria using some enzymes. So there are enzymes which will help in separating these biomolecules from the S strain bacteria, and then they try to find out which among these, whether it is DNA or RNA or proteins, that transformed the the R strain bacteria into S strain bacteria. Once again, Frederick Griffith, he couldn't explain, or he could not give a proper explanation for the biochemical nature of the transforming principle. Okay, what is the significance of transforming principle? It is this transforming principle or genetic material which transformed the R strain bacteria into living S strain bacteria. Okay, and 3 scientists who carried out the experiments include Oswald Avery, Colin McLeod and Maclean McCarthy. And earlier, before they conducted their experiments and found out the genetic material, it was assumed that this could be a protein. And then the 3 major biomolecules like DNA, RNA and proteins were extracted, were separated out from heat-killed S strain bacteria using enzymes, and then they conducted experiments to find out which among these caused this transformation. Any doubts? Any doubts? Can I proceed?
Yes, sir.
It was DNA alone from S bacteria that caused transformation of R bacteria. So from their experiments, we will see the details of the experiments. From the experiments, they could conclude that out of these three molecules, DNA was the material that transformed the R strain bacteria into S strain bacteria. Okay, children? So it was DNA that transformed S strain bacteria into R strain bacteria. So this is based on the experiments which they conducted. So more about it, how they found out that it was DNA and not RNA and proteins, we will learn in the next class. Okay, details of the experiment we will see in the next class. Any doubts? Any doubts? No. So let me take your attendance. Thank you, children.